Welcome to the Jake Turner Podcast, where we share tools to win in life, health, and business. Today's guest is someone who spent his life helping artists find their voice and humans find their rhythm. Jim Gray is founder of Gray Artist Services, a Nashville-based company that supports independent artists with management, development, and marketing. He's also a father of three, a published author, and a man who's quietly devoted himself to helping people become more self-aware and more grounded, one daily rhythm at a time. We met not through the artist world, and what stood out most for me was his soul. I'm excited for you to hear this one. Welcome to the show, Jim Gray.
Thanks for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
You've helped artists and humans build rhythm in their lives. What's the most chaotic season you've ever had, and how did you find your way out?
One of the things I had to happen about a year ago was I had a whole sequence of things going on. Some things I was leaving, some things I was coming into, some things were changing. There's just a lot of different layers. I call it layers when we get like compression. It's almost like layers of emotions and layers of things going on. And I'm pretty self-controlled. I'm pretty chill, right? And I stood up. I was with a friend at her house, and I'd stood up, and I felt dizzy, like lightheaded. And I sat down, and about 10 minutes into that, I realized I'm having a panic attack.
Okay.
And when your body reacts to something that's happened to you in an emotional state, and you don't have your normal control, it really messes with you. This goes on for like 2 or 3 days. I go to urgent care twice.
Okay.
Thinking that I'm having like a cardiac event.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, "What's going on in your life?" And I kind of told her, and she's like, "Well, Mr. Gray, I think you're having panic attacks."
Wow.
And so I just laid down on the couch and just rested hard for a couple of days and canceled everything.
Yeah.
And I believe that was because men in general that are high performers sometimes run on fumes. You know, we push ourselves, we don't sleep and all this, but out of that chaos came a greater awareness of the self and how I manage that. I already kind of had that part down, but I was like, man, I got to do a better job of like managing myself and how I mitigate that with others.
Yeah. Have you had a panic attack before?
No, never.
And what do you think was leading to that anxiety? Was making you have a panic attack?
It was overthinking.
Okay.
It was a series of things that felt like it was out of my control.
Okay.
So now what I do is, and even before that, I continue to do, we've talked later about daily rhythms, but I do the same thing every day. I have the 4 W's that no matter what's going on in my life, I do riding, walking, weights, and working. There's only 4 things I got to think about in any given day.
Yeah. Gotcha. Do you mind sharing what it was you were overthinking about? You don't have to.
Oh, no. I was making a transition out of a relationship with somebody.
Okay.
Right. So that was going on.
Not stressful at all.
Not stressful at all. Right. It was like a breakup in real time.
Gotcha.
And then I was making an exit out of a company, and I had the pressure of like, I wanted to serve all those people right. Right. And then I just moved into a new place, and I wasn't sleeping well. And in the back of my brain is all this like, it's almost like language or voices of like just overthinking.
Yeah. And
it stressed me out. Like even now, I'm not being triggered at all right now, but I would say like 6 months ago, I'd still be triggered by some of those things. Sure. I had to work through it.
Yeah.
And I had to have some conversations with a counselor, and then I just had to know that like, hey, there isn't anything in life that's worth going through that again.
I totally agree. To me, my first reaction, it sounds like you're talking about the 4 W's. It's like almost you had like 4 W's opposite of what you're doing. Like I was awake, I couldn't sleep. You know, I was worried about my relationship. And what are people going to think about me when I exit this job and my reputation? Yeah. And it just snowballs.
Well, and then all the pressure that we put upon ourselves. That I'm a bit of an empath, so I know when I'm working with people that I kind of soak in some of the emotional. If someone's projecting, I'm going to soak all that in.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes I got to be careful So now I have like tools to make sure that I ask better questions to make sure I'm not going to absorb as much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the thing about being an overachiever is that we work differently. And our school systems, I mean, the way I think, there wasn't anything in my family life as a kid or our school systems or anything else that could set me up for how I naturally think.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And a quote that I love that I heard recently is that someone else's chaos is not your cue to respond.
Yes. Yes.
And so being calm, grounded,
yes,
especially in an area when things are getting chaotic, is so important. And also to realize at a certain level of emotional maturity, look, I'm not going to play this game of chaos.
Yes.
The way some people live their lives is super chaotic to where it's like, we got to mitigate this some a little bit. And I had a little bit of this when I was just traveling, which we're going to talk about an airport story. But my mom, love her so much, a little chaotic as far as getting ready, traveling. I forgot my belt, naturally I'm getting annoyed by it and being like, look, we're going to obviously travel together more in the future. Let's try and mitigate some of this chaos together to where it's going to be smoother in the future. And I'm not perfect. I had moments where I screwed up a flight I booked and things like that, give some grace. But that stuff stacks when you're trying to make decisions in chaos, when you can plan a little bit, get a roadmap and a framework that makes things a lot smoother.
Absolutely. And a key phrase I learned about a year ago was emotional regulation. Okay. It's the ability to, I receive information, positive or negative, and I was raised in a family where you react to things.
Okay.
There's just, we some of us might call that drama.
Okay. Like, can you give me an example?
Like an example of you say, hey, after the podcast today, you're like, hey man, I appreciate you, but you said some things on the podcast that I wasn't cool with. And you might be really cool about it, but I'm inside, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out.
Gotcha.
And emotional regulation says the idea is that it's not that I debunked my emotions and say you can't have it, but it says that and you use the term mitigate a few times, and it's like I self-mitigate before I talk to somebody about it.
Okay.
So what I've learned is that I had to learn to do better emotional regulation, whatever your process is. That's why I write every day. That's why I have morning pages. That's why I have things like prayer and meditation and all that, so I'm centered.
Yeah.
Emotional regulation isn't so much like cool, calm, and collected, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's not reactive.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart way, a mature way to go about things, especially when it comes to relationships. And that's not feeling your feelings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think there's a big difference.
If anything, it's actually saying like, hey, if we're on a plane and the plane's having some issues and the masks go down. I've never been on a plane when the masks go down.
I haven't either.
That's dumb. That's dumb. But the idea is like I take my and the instructions, they say, put your own mask on, do this thing, and then help the other person if you need to.
Yeah, yeah.
In our culture, if we have any sort of like people pleasing things going on, we will go above and beyond to serve others to make sure they're okay before we make sure we're okay. Tools like emotional regulation and the 4 W's say, hey, I'm paying attention to who I am.
Right. Right.
And I'm making sure that I'm good. Everything in Jim Gray's life goes better when he's centered and he's done the daily rhythms every day to just start off the day, because it's like we in our American culture, we spend so much time working and thinking about work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's a big focus on work.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like wake up and go to work.
Right.
And I have clients and friends in my life that, in the past they'd have health problems because they worked themselves so hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've had that. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But
how do we care? It's like, how do we be high achievers and how do we care for ourselves? Because if this breaks, we can't be high achieving anymore.
Yeah. And it will break.
Yeah.
Everyone hits what's called the pain line.
Exactly.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this. It's like, need to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Like, I want to do this. I want to respond to someone's chat on Instagram. I need to prep a video for tomorrow. I got a quote, all these things. Now it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now you're behind on the next day.
And then you're scrolling TikTok.
Right. Well, I typically don't scroll. I'm actually pretty good at that. But yeah, it puts you behind, and something that I've learned, we talk about emotions too, is like at like a baseline, good to be like calm and grounded. I'm not going to change how loyal I am for someone.
No.
Absolutely not.
No. But we have the right, I believe we have the right to say to friends, good friends, or to ourselves, or even in our daily writing, we have the right to say, I'm pissed about this. Right. And I don't know. And I actually don't know what to do, and I'm going to need a couple of days to think about it.
Yeah.
Because there are some things where we encounter in our daily lives sometimes where we're just like, okay, I don't have any precedent for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't actually, and there's at times I have things that I encounter, I'm like, well, that's new. Now I make a joke. Right. I'll say, well, that's new.
Yeah. That's cool. It's kind of like a, like, I'm curious.
It's a bit of a, it's me saying, I can take that and I can put it on a shelf for a second.
Yeah.
My other little hack is that I say, do I need to deal with this today? Is this an urgent thing? Mm-hmm. It's like Eisenhower's matrix.
Yeah.
Where he's like, what's the priority of things?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just making it up as I go.
Well, and that's just,
I'm improvising.
Yeah. And that's a skill in itself too. I think one thing I learned, I went through this professional training coaching program, like core energy coaching. You learn to coach people around who they are as a person. And I think that's what makes me a great coach, is because people know what to do. Yeah. Nowadays, you can chat GPT or anything. You can find out how to do something on the internet, but it's your belief, who you are as a person, who holds you back. And there's different energy levels that they just are what they are, but they're useful. So like, say at the level 1 lowest energy level, someone's apathetic, victim, oh, poor me. But like, that is useful because, say like when my dad died, it's a perfect time to just heal, and you need that time to recover, because the stuff you're dealing with, like, you're in this like overwhelming amount of grief, and like someone else next to you is like trying to figure out what we're going to have for lunch. Yeah. And then the next level is like anger. Yeah. Like super uncomfortable feeling, which usually comes from some sort of fear. Mm-hmm. You can use that anger and get in a great fucking workout. Yeah. I've had the best workouts in my life when I've been betrayed, or someone really made me angry. And I just took that initially and was like, oh, I'm going to get the greatest workout of my life. Yeah. You have to channel that differently. And I think too, that bouncing off something that you said is that, being who you are and choosing like what you said is like, all these people know what to do. Yeah. But do they actually have the courage? Because real courage is like, I'm not going to ignore that fear. Mark Twain said that courage is not it's not the absence of fear. It's actually the knowledge of it, but you just choose not to focus on it. Yeah. It's I'm going to let it go on the ride with me, but it doesn't get to have a say in the trip. Right. Because whatever we believe in, whether it's God or ourselves or whatever it is that people believe, we were given fear in our instinctive nature for a reason. Yeah. It alerts me that like I might not be safe. Correct. But when we use fear as an overarching theme in our lives, and then we become anxious and all these things, it's like, man, all the best things that are happening in my life right now did not come. They came when there wasn't fear involved, but if there was any fear or anxiety, I like looked at that and go, that's not really, if I do this, the reward's going to be so much greater. Yeah. Yeah, I think it has its uses, right? Like when I think of dirt bike riding. Oh, yeah. I went to so I hire coaches for all different areas of my life. That's why I think coaching's valuable. It's like, these are my goals. Let's hire a coach for every aspect, my health, motocross, everything. And so part of it is realizing that there's some fear there. Like if you're getting really tired at the end of the day, gosh, my buddy Rick I ride with, it's like, you don't say like, oh, I'm just gonna go out like one more time, because everyone's like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. I can't remember what they said to replace it with, because it's like that's when you wreck. And so there's some legitimate reason behind the fear, because it's a belief backed by. Now at the same time though, that fear can hold you back from, if you're rested, you got the good technique, and you're going out and you're always scared of hitting the jump. Yeah. If you're letting off the gas and then trying to blip the gas at the top of the jump, it's going to throw you a different direction than you want. Yeah. And so in those times, it's important to commit and just go for it and just lock in. What was about the airport you're going to tell me?
Airport gym. In 2018, I had 50 flights.
50 flights.
50 flights. I was at the airport basically every other week.
Wow.
And
for what?
Yeah, every other week, and I was going all over the United States and Dominican Republic and all these things for a career that I used to have. And,
okay.
It wasn't for fun or pleasure.
Well, I assume not, but
with that kind of schedule. But I think when I counted up it was one of those things, when you count up all your flights and connectors and everything, total amount of flights was 50.
Okay.
Which is still a crazy number.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of, and it's a lot of like things going on, and
it's a lot of TSA time.
So I have this, so in order for me to get through a lot of things sometimes in life, I have these different like mindsets I go into.
Okay. Please
part
share.
Part of this came from a podcast I heard not recently, but a couple of years ago, where I heard about an actor was talking about he'd gone to all these auditions.
Okay.
And he kind of put on, he was really anxious about it. So he put on this persona called the actor. And all it was like a persona he put on to go and get through all these auditions. And he found out he could do more auditions and get more gigs because of that process.
Ah, okay. Kind of like, almost like an avatar.
Yeah, like an avatar like a persona. I've heard, folks like Donald Miller on Story Brand podcast talk about this recently about, we often some people even make up stories to make it more interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, that someone's a CIA killer, they like just make up like facades about things to make sure everybody's listening, first of all.
Yeah.
But getting back to this is that, I made up this sort of mantra in my mind when I'm traveling. I call it airport gym, because I'm at the airport. I'm kind of in purgatory.
Okay.
And so a self-soothing technique, right? Whether I'm like waiting for my luggage or I'm waiting to board my flight, I have this little hum that I do.
Okay.
And it's just like a, and I've been next to people, I've got my headset on, my over-ears on or whatever, and I'm standing next to people and they're kind of looking at me and I'm like, it's airport gym. It's like, I'm conscious.
Yeah.
But I'm self-soothing.
Gotcha.
So I've got airport gym, and then I've got manager gym.
Manager gym.
So manager gym is when, let's say you're my music client and you're coming into town.
Okay. Yes. I'm just got in town.
Right. And manager gym knows that he's going to have to be in the car with you for 2 days, because we got to drive all over and go track vocals for a project.
Oh, wow.
At different studios, and then have lunch together and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to be with this person, so I'm going to need to be, and I actually call it, manager gym is like my laid back California self, where I was raised.
Okay.
My dad's very laid back. I'm very laid back. And it's almost like a persona that I put on to help just be really chill.
Gotcha.
And, but I'm not sure that that's really me, in the sense of real me is I wouldn't say I'm extreme, but I can I can operate at a level of intensity that some people can't, and be comfortable with it.
Gotcha.
It's what makes me good at what I do.
Yeah.
But manager gym, whether it's manager gym or airport gym, I'm still a version of me, but I'm acclimating to whatever scenario.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
And having fun.
Yeah. Well,
right?
yeah.
Shoot, I'm probably 19 years old. I was in Mexico speaking at a missions chapel thing for youth, and I was speaking in the early morning chapel, and I remember I was really nervous. And this other guy named Jim, this older guy, he's probably my age now, he was a real character, right? And I'm not really a real character, but
No,
but he said, he goes, hey man, I know you're nervous, but let me give you just a little tool that I use throughout the years to help you, and I've used it since then in business and all sorts of things.
Yeah, what's the tool?
It's SELL.
SELL, okay.
It's smile, eye contact, look confident, and learn names.
Okay, cool.
And he's like, here's some examples of how you would use that. He goes, you're going to stand up there. He goes, you're going to smile, and it's going to help you relax. It's going to help everybody else feel comfortable. And he goes, you're going to use eye contact, because when people are nervous, they won't look at you. They'll look down. They'll look at their notes. So he goes, just smile and look around, even if you don't know what you're going to say. Look confident. Look like you know what you're doing. Look like you know what you're talking about. Present the content. Learn some names, and when they come back the next day, say, hey, Rachel or Billy or whatever, I'm really glad you guys are here again.
Yeah.
And that type of thinking and that type of tool has been like very useful for me throughout. It's why I have a lot of sort of like things like the 4Ws.
Tell me about the 4Ws.
Yeah.
What are those?
So the 4Ws is, the first one is writing. So I have a writing desk in my office, and I don't know if it's because I'm a Gen X creative, but I like paper, and I like my pen, a certain type of pen and a certain type of paper. So I use 8.5 by 11 yellow legal notepad and a certain G2 pen, and I'm going to write 3 pages of almost like a long form essay.
Yeah.
Not every day, but most days.
I was thinking that's a lot.
And it's a brain dump. It's called Morning Pages.
Okay.
And so I have that tool that I use in my writing sessions, and I express gratitude. I know you journal through gratitude.
Yeah.
Right? So I journal about gratitude every day. I also have being a Christian, I try to read something in the Bible every day, at least a verse. So I have Bible promises. So I have now journaled since 2020 every day in some form or fashion in these 8.5 by 11 yellow legal notepads. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And I have stacks of them. I leave those stacks as proof that I've done the work.
Gotcha.
But I've also experienced the work. So I do the writing part and I believe that there's been new neural pathways that have been paved because of that work, because of expressing gratitude and the Bible promises and the journaling and things like that. So that's the W. And the W, for that part of the W, I actually have calendar. I have 3 calendars in my daily calendar that pop up about their quotes about gratitude. And here's something that's quotable for me is that gratitude sets my attitude.
Okay. I like that.
It's like the thing that sets the precedent for the day.
Gotcha.
About me being centered.
Yeah. Nice. I love that.
And then the Bible verses, so I've got quotes about gratitude, Bible verses, basically Bible promises. There's about 31 of those based on the amount of days in the month. So I can literally, whatever day today is, I can go and look up the 20th or the 21st, whatever day it is, and I can go look up number 20, tells me what it is. I write that in the heading, and then I go through my process with that. So every day I'm writing. That's the first W. The second one is walking. Walking,
okay.
So during the pandemic, a lot of things happened. The pandemic was kind of pivotal for me because I almost felt like it was in a way, it was like our childhood again.
Okay.
So there's no schedule at times.
Yeah.
Things are free and open. It was a lot like the 80s.
Okay.
You had internet and you had TV, but you also had tons of time on your hands.
Gotcha. Yeah, true.
Kind of reminded me of the 80s a little bit, like growing up as a kid.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so so the walking part, I started off just walking a mile a day in my neighborhood in East Nashville. And then I remember there's something that happened, and I was like, I'm going to add another mile today. Next thing you know, I'm up at the 3. Well, up until about a year ago, I'm up to walking 30 miles a week.
Wow.
Right?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Right? Physically, that's a lot. We've talked about this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot for anyone.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, because at times I can be a bit of an overachiever. I became sort of an ultra marathon walker inadvertently because I'm competitive.
Yeah, is there like a term for that? It's
I don't even know.
Your Strava has like
it's got like a route that you take.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Let me just say I know Shelby Bottoms Parkway and the Air Park really well. I know every trail out there.
Oh, that's cool.
But the walking I found was helping me process a lot in life. Even this morning, with my schedule and everything, it's like, man, the most important things I do every day is the W's, right?
Yeah.
And doing those same patterns every day. And it's also why I like is when I can and when my circadian rhythms are right, I like to get up early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody in my world that's going to get up early because I don't have a lot of early birds in my world. And so that's time I steal for myself. I set for myself.
Yeah.
And I set the time for the W's. So I got riding, walking, which helps. I'll even take walks on calls.
Okay.
So if the weather's good and it's not 90,000 degrees outside, I'm going to take a walk. So I've got riding, walking, weights. I added weights about 2 years ago, just some dumbbells on the floor of my office. So I'm on calls. I'm doing curls or I'm doing some presses.
Nice, yeah.
And it's helped just sort of like with overall strength.
Sure.
And all of this is a gift to myself.
Yeah.
The other part I'll add into those three that's not a W is intermittent fasting.
Okay.
So I'm using intermittent fasting almost every day in my life as
cool.
kind of a gift to myself. That's incorporated in there, and then I'll break that fast about midday with a protein smoothie, and then add some regular protein later and all that.
Yeah.
The fourth W is work.
Okay.
It's not that, and I don't say like I have to work today. I get to work today.
Mm-hmm.
I get to work every day. I've also trained myself to not work some days and to take a rest, like a Sabbath rest day.
Yeah.
I was raised in a working class family where my dad owned a business, and all the sons worked in that business. Mm-hmm. And so I have a very strong work ethic that I got from my family, like literally a genealogy of work that I can look back on.
Yeah.
And I love what I do, and I get to do it with really great people. Mm-hmm. And so I don't look at it like I have to. Now, there's definitely some days that I'm just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
But it's a discipline. So the 4 W's are really disciplines. Mm-hmm. They're things that I've chosen to do day after day after day, where no matter how I feel, I still do them.
Yeah.
Because they're the best things I can do for me every day.
Yeah. I think that's great. It's like setting up what I like to call non-negotiables for yourself.
Yes.
Like if these are my goals for the year, 25 years, however you want to do it, it all comes down to that daily standard.
Yeah.
That if you do those things, then it will make your goals inevitable. Because everyone has goals, but it's your standards is basically the thing that sets you apart from everyone else. And something I've done, I've learned to prioritize those standards first.
Yes.
And then after that, everything else is just bonus. Because there's so much noise.
Yeah.
You know, that it's coming at you. Or like, I've learned now too, people are texting me or like even on Instagram or this, or people are calling me like, I'm going to answer my texts and messages in batches. Like, I'm not giving someone the right to interrupt me through everything I'm trying to do the entire day. Whether it's when I'm praying and go over my goals in the morning and stretching to my working out towards, even when I'm making a phone call with someone, like you can set certain notifications and silence things to where you can be focused like in that moment. And I think it's really important to do things like that. Oh,
absolutely. And I think that I learned a year or so ago that I was giving people way too much access to me as a leader. Okay. And I had to start curbing some of that. So I had to start doing things in batches.
Okay. Yeah.
Where I had to leave messages. First of all, I'm not a big fan of text messaging. I do it. I do it with people that if I'm friends with somebody, I'll ping back and forth with them, and it's great. Also, Instagram messages and things like that. I had to figure out, like, how am I going to manage all this? Yeah. Because I can't be distracted all the time.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, and then I'm constantly gauging, is this a distraction or is this a focus? And what are those different levels? And then sometimes I've also heard that people that are high level sometimes, that their timeliness of their communication, when you're really engaging with them, will be like boom, 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 and then it's done.
Right, yeah.
And so I've been thinking lately about, okay, if I am going to respond to that, how fast can I do that? Because I need to move on to other things.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, Jake, that I've been really thinking a lot about lately is asking myself almost every day now, what do I need to delegate or let go of to grow as a leader? Because I can't be in the weeds every day. And it's like, I don't have to, I've learned, I've given my gift to myself and said, I don't have to think about all this right now. Yeah. But if I took a Saturday morning,
right,
I love a thing I do called Strategic Saturdays.
Okay.
My good friend Wade.
Let's hear it, yeah.
A couple of years ago, I was like, had a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, are you working on Saturday? I'm like, no, because I take weekends off.
Yeah.
He's
What
like,
a thought.
He's like, why
You take a day off?
He's like, why are you own a company, right? And he's like, why are you taking the day off with everything you got going on? I was like, well, because I'm tired. And he's like, no, he goes, and people like Alex Ramosi and his wife will say, they're like, the idea of a weekend is not actually, it's actually not a very old idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that was really common, or something became common in like the 1900s. Everybody needs to have a weekend. Now we're like, and especially living in Nashville, everybody's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah.
So what I started doing was once a month I do Strategic Saturdays where I just work on things like my website, or I work on a podcasting plan, or I work on a content plan, or I work on something financial, or it could be even like a Strategic Saturday to plan vacation, or to plan hobbies, or plan something that I haven't had time to do, or maybe I need to do a project. But it's like it's strategic in that it's a chunk of time that I'm just going to like put on my calendar and I'm going to commit to. And I'm a big fan of, if I put something on my calendar, I'm going to do it. And if I'm not going to do it, I'm actually going to say this, I better have a damn good reason for not doing it, because I told my future self what to do.
Yeah.
And I take care of future Jim.
Yeah.
I have all these gyms.
Yeah, you should. You do have a lot of gyms.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I like that because the follow through is so important.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's small.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm supposed to go meet someone for coffee at 9 a.m. on Saturday. I'm a little tired. I didn't go. Then it's like, oh, I'm going to eat, a really healthy lunch, and then you don't.
Yeah.
It's like it breaks your confidence slowly,
Yeah.
and it adds up. And then when you want to do something really big, Jim on the outside is like, I got this, and like Jim on the inside is like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You're inconsistent.
I call that that whole methodology, or that thought process, is super common. And I give myself grace for how I was when I was younger, but I ran on fumes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that, it's not like I was showing up in my dad's logging crew, during the summer, and my dad's standing around going, hey guys, we're going to talk about self-awareness today, and let's talk about your core self and how's everybody feeling today. He's like, guys, here's what everybody's doing today, and guess what, Jim, if we don't skid enough logs and get them down to the mill, like, we don't eat this month.
Yeah.
Like, that's just real life.
Right.
But what I've learned is that if I do little bits of the work of self every day in my 4 W's, and I take time for myself every day, by the time the weekend comes and people are like, hey, what are you doing this week? I was like, hey, I don't have a job. I don't have a career or a company I run from.
Yeah.
I don't have anything I'm running from. I don't need a side hustle.
Right.
What I did was I actually built side hustle opportunities in my own company.
Oh, that's cool.
Like vertical markets that I could, like, when things are slow, rather than me going and be like, man, maybe I should go drive Uber. And I'm like, no, I actually own a company. I know there's ways I can get things I can go do that look like side hustles inside my own company.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to be all over the place. Like when I first moved to town, kid you not, there were people that were like, hey, what do you do for work? And they're like, I design websites. I'm a photographer. I drive for Uber. I bust tables at a restaurant, and I dog sit, and I write a blog. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, I'm just into the grind, bro. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I was like, and I'm not, I've heard a lot of people say to me in the past, be like, well, you should just pick we were, raised in the 80s and 90s and stuff, and 2000s, be like, people would say, just pick your one thing and make it your one thing. And I'm like, these days I'm more apt to say, rather than only do what only you can do, only think how you can only think. Because mindset champions everything.
How do you balance the business of music with the soul of it?
I've recently had some friends who were saying, they're telling me about this. Oh, have you listened to this record?
Okay.
Or this record, whoever the artist is.
Yeah.
And I say to them, I'm like, I'm listening to new music from my clients that we're in the studio producing. So I'm like, it's different for me because I'm I'm in the business of developing the music. That's part of my business. So my company does 4 things. We do artist management, artist development, creative agency services, and marketing advertising services all in one kind of bundle, and then a record label. Now, most people are only going to focus on 2 of those things, maybe 3. I had the advantage of having all the relationships to pull that off. So we're not doing every single bit of work in all those areas. We have all the relationships to make all those things happen. But I love music. It's why I got into this. And I have kids. I have 2 sons that are musicians, that are songwriters and performers. And some of the best training I have for what I do is being a parent.
Okay.
It was great training.
Yeah.
But as far as balancing the business, there's the business of it and the love of it. There's definitely some days where I've had enough at the end of the day of the business side of it, but I still love music.
Sure.
So I love going to hear live. I still love, going to see live music.
Yeah.
And I love listening to it.
Sure.
But there's days where I'm like, man, I just want some silence.
Yeah, I bet. Then you have a lot of music, and not all of it's going to be good, right?
No.
It's just different. What do you think's the biggest mistake that musicians make?
I think that one of the things I've seen is just, it's more like what I would say a continuity thread of how, it's not how to do everything, but when and where something should happen. So if you're focusing, so one of the key areas that I've seen is that when you've done all the work to write your songs, you found a producer, a mix engineer, and a mastering person, and you might even have a way to release your music, you might not, most of the time I'm finding that producers are telling me that the artists don't have a promotion plan.
Okay.
So it's why we focused a lot on, pitching services or advertising services. It's why I went out and built, got my own distribution deal, which a distribution deal is basically that I got a contract where I could distribute music through another company, and that company doesn't work with artists directly. They only support companies like mine.
Okay. It's
an invite only kind of thing. And then I can take that and I can pass that I can make my own offer to pass on to artists to support them. So they get their music gets pitched, Apple editorial playlists and Spotify. It's how you get on those bigger playlists.
Okay.
So they get that. So that's support for them. And then we've got, playlist pitching and YouTube advertising and all these other services. What I wanted for an artist was I wanted them from the minute they wrote the song, I wanted there to be this through line of continuity all the way until the song's done and promoted and lives on. I wanted there to be them to have confidence. I wanted to provide value, and that value gave them confidence that they could do the same thing over and over again, developing habits, not doing something new every time.
Gotcha.
They can do new things, but we're going to do new things within the framework that I built.
Yeah. That makes sense, because I'm sure I'm a creative person, and you are obviously too. Creative people, I feel like, aren't the best with like structure and routine.
Absolutely.
It's something that needs to be learned, or once it's, like you said, kind of put into a calendar. That's why I am. Once I have like my schedule and calendar, and I'm like, execute, and then things align into place. But I can easily be caught up in staying up late working on something. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'll work on this music thing for a while, or with content or different things, and it's so easy to just get trapped in that. What's the dark side of the music industry that people don't know about?
I'd say the dark side is I think there's more anxiety overall and overthinking. There's a lot of just the danger of, you've got a project you invested, you might have written those songs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 years ago, and you're just now getting them to the producer. They're just now getting marketed. They're just now getting out there. And then there's all the parts and pieces. You might be an independent artist and you might not have any sort of team. So you're doing all these things like content creation yourself. You're uploading your own music to the distribution service. You are, buying ads on different platforms. You're doing all these things. You might be working a full-time job. Shoot, you might even have a family.
Yeah.
You might even have parents you're caring for. Like, you have a whole story going on, and then you've got the whole parallel universe of your music going on.
Yeah.
And And that will create stress, and that will create anxiety and overthinking, a lot of other things. It's one of the reasons, Jake, why literally in this current season of life that I'm in, I am starting to look at developing some tools to help people being centered just like I'm centered every day. So things like the 4Ws, a whole content and podcast notion and concept around the idea of what is real good, not true mental health, but what does true emotional health look like? How do we use tools like emotional intelligence? So if I know myself if I know myself and I know how to manage that, and then I have understanding of others, and I have empathy and compassion for them in their journey, because the journey I've been in, it also makes sense as an artist or any career as yourself, that you're going to also think through myself. Here's my persona as an artist, almost like Airport Jim.
Yeah.
Airport Jim is aware. Airport Jim manages himself through self-soothing techniques like humming, and he interacts with others when he absolutely has to.
Sure.
Right? And that could lead to good decision-making or not if he doesn't want to make decisions. Manager Jim, I have to manage that persona, and then how it engages with others, and how I have empathy and compassion for those on their journey, which leads to great decision-making. The artist has the capability to do that too. They just need more time to be confident doing it. And so some of this conversation we're having is just like using tools like emotional intelligence, like a paradigm, if you will, or a grid, and explaining that and saying, here's how you can start thinking differently to help you so you don't need to have the anxiety. And maybe you just need more time to build some things out, then build out. And I think one of the other thieves of creativity is comparison. Comparing ourselves to other people and their budgets and their accolades and their awards. And I don't give a rat's ass what award somebody gets. And actually, an award doesn't do anything for you. If I get a Grammy, or I get a nomination, or I get an award of whatever that award is, it might make me feel good, but I don't believe that reward or that award actually produces. And you can't prove to me that it's going to get you more gigs, or it might help you get better clients, maybe.
Yeah. Some credibility there.
Some credibility.
I think that's, that makes sense. But I understand what the point you're trying to make. Yeah.
It's more like, but getting down to it's like one of the dark side is like, am I running on fumes? Am I self-aware? Do I need help? Do I need somebody to talk to? Do I need a tool to help me work through things? And it's why I just talk about tools like emotional regulation and the W's, and then I have these amazing opportunities to sit down with people that they'll send me DMs and says, I'd love to meet and just talk about this clip that you made. And I end up having these face-to-faces with them, and I'm seeing people's lives changed through things that I just thought were just elementary, simple things.
Whatever,
They're really helping people.
Yeah.
And because I think that I had to, as an emotional creative, somebody who's done writing since he was a kid and done all these different things, and then now and for me to be able to be a creative and also understand business development is kind of unique. And so what I'm trying to do now is really help people. I have this central idea or core idea now that it's not about me.
Yeah.
It hasn't been about me for a long time. Now I'm trying to figure out better ways to get on podcasts or use social media or in-person speaking or those other things to like really help people, where they are, whether it's in the music business or creative or whatever journey that they're on.
Yeah. I think your heart's in the right place. I believe God put me here to help people.
Absolutely.
And I think the primary way I'm doing that now is coaching, but there's multiple other different ways you can do it. And like what you're doing, and you figure out the key to that. It's like once you make it about other people and not yourself, there's no end to that. Because we'll often do things for other people more than we will for our own selves. Yeah.
Well, when people often don't care what we know, all the information that we know, but when they find out how much we care, and that we care, like I'm a person, I care deeply about others.
Yeah.
And it's why, and also I'm not, in a sense, naturally extroverted, so I have to go about it differently. So in a lot of ways, I develop tools to help express what I'm thinking and the process, so I can like even reach a larger audience. And then in the same manner, not only that, but then just making sure that I'm also having other people speak into all these any project that I have that's in development. I have other friends that are advising me on that.
Yeah.
But having a framework to do that, and it's an honor to be involved in other people's stories.
Do you think the people that you know would benefit from a framework that would give them a roadmap to having clarity on their purpose?
Oh, I believe so, yeah.
If you are watching this and you go to my Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and DM me the word roadmap, I will send you the tool that I use. But once I learned what my roadmap was for my goals, creating that 100% clarity and purpose is a game changer. Like, I don't want to do anything else but work on my purpose. Like, I don't want to watch Netflix. Like, I eat for nutrition, but like, I don't really care about eating or exercising or anything else. Like, my family and my purpose. Like, that's all I want to do. And once you gain that, life's changed, because you have set clarity and purpose. And most people don't have that. And I can tell you right now, I have 100% clarity 100% of the time. And 100% belief that the things that I'm going to do are going to happen. And once you have that, there's no looking back.
Well, when I think about friends in my life that I look up to, not idolize, not put up on pedestal, but when I come into your home, I even see how your dog is or how you are and how your home is arranged and your life is very thoughtful. I'm like, bro, you're doing a great job. You're going to help a lot of people because I've already seen the change in you.
Thank you.
Right? We see the change. When we see the change in other people, it's one thing if you went out and bought a course, right? I'm like, hey, bro, here's my course. Take my course and learn my course. If you take this course,
it's different.
But if you take that, when you couple that with the organic person that you are and be true to yourself, like when you get someone else's course, like you can download your content, you still have to make it work for you.
Yeah, of course.
It's not perfect. You have to think through things.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what your coaching's for is you get your program, but you get the coaching with it. Coaching goes, like my business grew tenfold in some ways when I started hiring coaches to talk to musicians about all these things. And when I started stepping back and just help the coaches I'm having these raw conversations with the coaches about their clients. Yeah. And the coaches are growing. Yeah. So I step back and become the senior fly fishing guide versus the guy that's getting everybody in the river every day. Yeah. It made a big difference.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to hear the biggest game changer I learned from me related to dating when I went to a Tony Robbins conference?
Yeah, I do.
So he was asking everyone in the room. I just did this virtually, but I still highly recommend it. It was great. I'm planning to go on his event in December, but they ask people, what's your energy on like a day to day, like, and a lot of people are like a 4 or like a 5, and he's like, would you ever date a 5? And everyone's like, well, no, I don't want to be, I don't want to be a 5. You know what I mean? To where it's like now, like my newest goal is when I'm thinking about attracting the right partner. And the most important key factor, obviously you want to be attracted to someone, which is like, yes or no, I'm attracted to someone. That's just how it is. Yeah. But how can I have the highest level of energy? Yeah. And like, that's what I want in a partner. Yeah. That's what I want in close friends, people I work with. Yes. They're not draining me. And being aware of that is like, I'm around this person, evaluating how's my energy. If it's really draining them, if it's a family member, unfortunately, you can't choose who your family is. You can distance yourself from them a little bit. Now, if they bring you up, you spend more time with them. Yeah. But it's really being aware of that and being unapologetic about managing your energy.
And I think, too, like showing up, whatever that situation is, being the best version of ourselves. So an idea that I have after working in the creative world for a number of years and always working through iterations of either ideas or design or a story or branding or whatever it was, we're always working through these different iterations, and so this idea of better, stronger versions. Okay. How can we work through how can we make through having great friends that give us good feedback, or a coach, we can get through iterations faster to get to better, stronger versions of ourselves. But I think showing up to being our I don't know what I would say, peak levels of who we are. And showing up for that every day and showing up for others. And so when those other potential life partners or business partners or clients or whoever it is, shoot, even people in a small group, a community group at your church or a networking group or whatever it is, like everybody likes people with good energy.
Yeah.
And being positive.
Yeah. I learned as a core energy coach, I can coach who you are as a person. I can coach Jim as who you are. But yeah, I know with 100% fact that because I'm a professionally trained coach. And like you get these other people out there, it's like, oh, I'm a life coach. Oh yeah, how were you trained? XYZ. It's like, oh, I was coached. Oh, you flew in an airplane? You think you're going to fly the plane? I'll drive.
Because I know
right.
You've done some flying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go up there and fly the plane.
No. I'm not going up with you.
Yeah. I don't want airport Jim going to the cockpit and being like, absolutely not.
You're like, wait, why is this guy humming?
Yeah, exactly. And it's knowing what you can do and getting people to understand that.
Yeah.
And getting people to pay attention.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you give people advice, like we got people listening, and they were saying like, "Oh, that sounds great," and then go do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I believe that you have to pay in order to pay attention.
Oh, absolutely. And having a plan, even if you got to pay somebody to help you make a plan, and you're going to carry that plan out for a while, like people say, "Well, I don't really have the money to invest in something." It's like, well, when are you going to invest in yourself?
Right.
When are you going to take things to the next level, whether you start by yourself or you start with a coach or you start by listening to a podcast? Like what, if you're going to listen to this podcast today, what's the next step you're going to take to do just like 0.5% of change in your life to make your life just incrementally better?
Yeah. It's getting people to understand the value, and it's also can be understandably tough, right? I had a friend who used to coach people on their finances, and it's like, well, and I've gotten this before, like, well, you're a Christian, can't you just do it for free? It's like, if I give you the best advice and you don't take it, and the only way it's going to work is if you pay me something, then it's irrelevant.
Well, also you're paying for accountability.
Right.
You're also asking people like ourselves,
right,
to say, if you're going to have to do this for at least 26 days. And they're like, why do I have to do it for 26 days? Because it doesn't take 14 days to make a habit, bro. It actually takes about 20 some odd days to actually, for that habit to lock in and for you to choose to continue to do it.
Right.
Probably takes more like 90 days.
Yeah. And like, what's the value on it? Like on the highest level, say a CEO founder, they're making, $10, $100 million a year.
Yeah.
What's $250,000 for 6 months coaching if it's going to make another $10 million, $50 million a year?
Yeah.
Because people will get stuck in these issues where, I'm sure you've experienced this, but I know I have. If you're having trouble with a close relationship, whether it's a family, friendship, or in your business, relationships are going to be the most important thing that affects your life, because when there's something wrong with it, you can tell because it's all you think about.
Yep.
And so if you can break through something like that, of course, all that energy you're wasting and spending and draining you on those relationships is going to come back tenfold into your personal life, your business, and into everything. But you can't make people see that value, unfortunately. So, and I think it has to be tailored to how much you make too. I mean, someone, I don't know what it would be percentage-wise, but it has to sting a little bit. You're like, I got some skin in the game. You know what I mean? If someone was like, you get the best life advice for $1, most people be like, they pay the $1 and just be like, I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, I call it self-investment. Like the way you grow sometimes is you have to like look and go, am I budgeting for improvement?
Right.
Am I budgeting my scope of my life, the schedule of my life, and the budget of my life for improvement? Do I have an improvement plan of some sort? And do I have a things like therapy?
Yeah.
You might need therapy. Like I'm just now filling out, it's like I'm filling out real time. I'm like filling out a form for me to go see a therapist. I've gone through a lot of things in my life.
Yeah.
And it isn't like I need to be fixed, but it's like I want to make sure that there's a good continuity thread there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And like, I've done a little bit of therapy just with some past relationships before. I think when what I learned from going through the coaching program is that like therapy typically difference between therapy and coaching, and sometimes people need both, or they need therapy first and then they can be coached, is therapy usually is healing from the past.
Yeah.
And coaching is taking from the present and moving you forward to the future.
Yeah.
And I think therapy it can be pretty necessary if it's really affecting your day to day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm missing work. You know, like I can't sleep, I can't eat.
Yeah.
You know, like this is really starting to affect your life. Yeah. You know, and I feel like if you also don't go through some of those things you've experienced in life, some people go through really, really tough things. Like I went through some just what I can remember incredibly tough things in my childhood. I mean, like my dad used to just beat the hell out of my mom.
Wow.
You know, and like my first memories of just like me and my brother, our ears against the room next door, and like her yelling, you know, like, you broke my hand, you know, and like we got out of there. And like, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just some little flashes here and there, but like, I think it's important too to know that like, you can celebrate all your kids' birthdays and all this stuff, but if there's some big hardcore trauma or bad things that happen, I ain't gonna remember any of that stuff. No, I don't. You know, I protect myself in some way of doing it. I wouldn't change any of that back. Yeah. But through some of those experiences, if you don't go through that stuff, you will relive it and go on, and that's all you'll think about, and you won't emotionally mature. And so it's very important, and props to you for doing that. You know, I think that's smart. And
I'm curious too, like what will just the journey I've been on by myself. Like everything you hear is like things that I've found out from a friend who's a counselor about emotional intelligence, and then took that and adapted that to my life.
Right. Yeah.
4 years later, he's like, I never had anybody do what you did with all this.
Yeah.
And then now having these different layers of conversations, whether it's spiritual formation and how do we adopt, how do we build creative habits or create habits around our spirituality? What does that look like day to day? And then what does that look like even for our psychological health and emotional health? So I've got happen to have two friends. One is a doctorate of psychology and the other is a doctorate of like spiritual philosophy or just philosophy in general. And just getting together with those guys and having these kinds of conversations to sort of like have access to them to sort of track through, like, what does it look like when somebody needs help in this area? What are some things that they can do? Yeah.
Oh, totally. And like, getting that prime emotional state too is just the biggest game changer. I love listening to, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. Yeah. He has this technique called priming. And so I don't write down things I'm grateful for anymore. I go through it through the priming exercise, and I'm going to make my own version of it. Doing that twice a day, it changes everything. If you go to YouTube, whatever, type in Tony Robbins priming, it's like a 15-minute exercise. I believe it's like emotional flooding. I can tell you, like, that changes everything. Because if your mind's in this great state, you're thinking, feeling, being grateful, everything else just flows. Because you're in this prime emotional state. You know, we did like a woo, you know, that's how I used to like prime myself, like, boom, we're in this state, let's go. You know, and from there you can be creative. From there you can be a great friend, partner, family member, dirt bike rider, whatever you want to be. Any version of Jim you want to be.
Any version of Jim. Pick a Jim.
You want to be. I had a couple more questions about the music business I want to ask you. For the musicians that actually achieve fame, do you think it makes them happy?
It can, but I think that like sticking with your core self and sticking with who you are, you know, businesses will grow, and you most likely are going to have a team that's going to help you manage that.
Yeah. But
I would say no matter what happens, you stick to who you truly are as a person. And I have people say to me like, well, I don't ever want to really make it big. I'm like, about anybody who's an entertainer always wants to make it. It wants something.
Yeah, that sounds kind of like bullshit.
Yeah,
as far as an entertainer. Humility, as far as an entertainer goes. And I would say like, you know, having either whether it's a coach or a manager or somebody around you that knows what your goals are and where you want to be and not want to be,
knowing both is critical. Like, hey, I don't ever want to do this because I saw this happen, or I want, if this ever happens, I really want this. Like, you may want a rider, if you're ever out on a tour bus, you'd be like, I really want my family with me. Well, that's really critical to know if you've got other players in your band and everything else, that your family's going to be with you, and how that's all set up and negotiated. And then, or, like, how do I deal with stress? Like, and how am I going to work out when I'm on the road? Because like physical fitness is a big part of like a lot of creatives' overall life processing. So it's like, if I go out on the road and my life gets bigger, how am I going to continue some of the really good habits I have, and then how am I going to work with my team to develop that? But and the word team means a lot of different things. Like a manager, you may have a business manager, you may have like a day-to-day manager, you may have like a tour manager. I mean, there's all these different managers in the business. To answer your question though, it's like, I think that like that's going to look different for everybody. But if you're chasing fame, I don't know, if fame does have a reward, it's temporary. And what I want to encourage anybody who's in that place is that just don't run on fumes. Yeah. That means like have something like the 4 W's that you do every day. It may be like, I'm on the bus every day, so I can't get out and get fresh air that I want. Well, find something else that's similar to that, a habit or process, and do that.
I'm curious, because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need a coach.
Right.
And I would imagine, though, that top level musicians have coaches.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them have coaches and managers, and they have people that, what we did was we developed because some people want to come to us for management, and I'll look at their overall business and just say, you don't have enough going on for us to actually manage it.
Sure.
Because we have to make profit off it too.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Coaching, though, is a life-on-life type of conversation you can have. Might be a quarterly coaching call. Yeah. It might be a monthly coaching call. It might be a weekly coaching call. It really depends. And, but I think that like the advantage is that you don't walk through any of that alone. Yeah. And I've had some people there just for a time period. They just needed me for a certain season of their life to get through something. And once we were done with that, they were good. And, so yeah, some of that is just like, just being on, if you go find a coach, like just be really honest about, here's what I'm looking to do, here's my schedule, and here's my budget. And chances are they're going to find a way to make something happen.
Yeah. And I think thinking of things that like when you're trying to get to this really high level, but you don't want to invest. The same thing. It's like, you wouldn't be surprised if someone was at the Olympics and the athlete had a coach. You'd be like, yeah, of course they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're at the highest level of XYZ, wherever they do. Yeah. But then if someone else is trying to get the highest level, they're like, oh, I don't need that. Yeah. It's like,
well, everything in my life went up another level besides just the thinking and the daily rhythms. Everything went up in my life when I started inviting people into my story, different parts of my story, much like you do. Yeah. And I started inviting advisors and friends and coaches and that into my life to like help me go to another level. Because I was like, I don't know how to do all this. Like, I don't know anything about psychology. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this. Like, I have a writing coach. Yeah. Oh, cool. Right, because I want to become a better writer.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I have an executive coach, right? Because I want to be a better leader.
Yeah. And I think that's smart. How do you think AI is going to affect music?
It already is. I mean, it's already on the move. There's AI it's like there's whole bands now that are on Spotify and other platforms that are all the pictures and everything's fake. So it's really hard to say. There have to be some sort of like, I don't know if it's legislation or watchdog groups or whatever, but like there's already people that are, out there forming whole bands and music and everything else using AI. There's a lot of social media stuff now that's AI generated. It's already there. Yeah. We just have to figure out, as humans, we have to figure out like how to adjust. I sometimes definitely know if somebody's sending me something, whether parts of it were AI generated or not. Having been a copywriter before, at times, you kind of know when something's too fluffy. And also, I don't think that AI has the ability yet to make like clear decisions about different scenarios like we do. Okay. So it's already there. It's already, there's more going on with AI than we even know. It's already affecting the business. As to what it's going to do and how it's going to do it, I think that we won't see some of that. We may not see the ultimate effect on it. It could be within another generation. I don't know. Yeah. But I also think that like in that there's been a bunch of like, there's a lot of wisdom in it. And then there's like, ultimately, no matter what happens, I still have to use best practices and thinking. And I've had a lot of opportunities lately about people that were like, well, I've got AI generated music. Do you want to work with that? And at the moment, I'm like, I only want to work with human music.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I am with that. I don't overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of people that are overwhelmed by it and talking about it all the time. Again, is that like a focus or is that a distraction? Until it becomes something I got to do more stuff with, I'm not going to.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like I said, I think it's going to be a learning curve, and I play around with it a little bit, and it's interesting. What's something that has happened to you that is like a great story that has the biggest impact on your life?
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of them. I think about times when people invested in me, whether it's like, invitations to things or people that hired me, I think one of the greatest things that happened to me was job-wise was I got into a management training program with Enterprise Rent-A-Car when I was in my 20s. I probably late 20s. I was already old for a lot because there was a lot of college grads coming there. I was married with 2 kids at home, and a couple years later, 1 on the way. But that management training program taught me all the basic tenets that I needed for what I use now, which is like how to manage relationships, how to manage people, how to manage money, how to manage sales, how to manage your bottom line, how to manage your back end. Like all those things I use in my business, my core business values I have now came from that time in that management company.
Okay.
And how That's to cool. How to build. So even now with like how I build relationships, with music producers or artist management firms or other groups that are sending me. So a lot of them are sending me referrals. I only know how to do that because I had sales and marketing training from those from Fortune 500 companies. So I think that was a real gift getting in there. Getting to work getting my start in the music industry back in 2011. Just getting hired by that company and then blessing me with. Just because I really didn't know much about the business at that point. Yeah. But, and then, I think one of the other greatest things that ever happened to me was, becoming a father and still being the parent of 2 20-somethings and 1 now 30-year-old. Wow. That's cool. Is a big blessing. And as in my 4 F's is like faith, family, fitness, finance. Well, family is still whether it's, family meaning like relationships or, good friends or community and my actual kids. I don't see my kids day to day all the time, but I'm active in their life and they're active in mine. And so that's being a parent is one of the biggest blessings I've ever had. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. You're a structure guy. Yeah. But where do you let life stay messy? I make my bed every day, but then there's a lot of days like on the weekends that I don't make my bed. I just let it go. And then as much as I do the intermittent fasting thing, I reserve the right on, the weekends I kind of cheat because I've done all the work. Yeah. And then, there's times where I have complete whole days that I can be incredibly just purposefully lazy and just watch TV or nap or spend time with people that are important in my life. And then I also learn at times to improvise. Even though I'm living by sometimes a very rigid calendar, not only a calendar, but then like relationships that I've got to track down and make things happen. Yeah. I'm also incredibly capable now of like letting all that go and kind of going with the flow if I need to. Yeah. How's that feel? It's good. It's good. It's I kind of miss it. I definitely love off time now. Like I'm right now I'm sort of planning a sort of a mixed vacation, staycation, like what does that look like? Like just how a whole week of off work with no communication from anybody, and what does that look like as a gift to myself? Yeah. Because being a self-employed business founder, you have the blessing of it, but then you also have the pressure or the responsibility. I don't look at it as pressure. I look at it as the responsibility of it. So what's a good way I could do that? And yeah, but rest, a weekly day of rest, and then regular rest rhythms of like every 6 weeks I'll do like a sprint, and then at the end of that sprint I'll take like a number of days off as a reward.
Okay, nice.
So
That's smart. What's your like go-to cheat meal?
Man, probably pancakes.
Pancakes? Okay.
Yeah, pancakes.
Like like what kind? Like blueberry?
Man, pancakes with strawberries.
Banana
actually
pancakes?
I had some of those today. And then I would say pancakes, a smoothie. I've got a really good blender and everything.
Oh, cool.
But and then I love hamburgers.
Okay.
I love tacos. In some ways I'm pretty simple, like Neanderthal human. I want like some meat. And then sometimes I just want like go someplace that's outside of my norm.
Yeah.
But yeah, food wise, man, I don't know why the pancakes thing is, I always have pancake mix in my cupboard.
Oh, really?
So I can make emergency it's like, in case of emergency, make pancakes.
It's like break the glass.
That's right, break the glass and
with
make
the syrup
pancakes.
bottle.
That's
like,
right. I always have syrup and pancake mix somewhere nearby.
Yeah, that's great life advice. I love food, so I could talk about food. Let's talk about food for a second. So like, I love a good burger too,
Yeah.
or like you're talking about like eating meat. Like
Oh,
I could
yeah.
just eat. Like if I'm here, obviously I'm not. If I'm out, I'm gonna be a gentleman. But at home cooking a steak, like I'll just eat with my hands. Like I don't give a shit.
That's right.
What do you think the best burger is at in Nashville?
I like Brown's Diner because they got good music. They've got a good bar. They've got good burgers. Also, Jack Brown, is a good place. Riverside Grill Shack in East Nashville is one of my favorite spots.
Oh, okay, I've never been there.
And then so what I would do is I would go Riverside Grill Shack and then hit the cobbler truck.
Okay.
Near Ladybird Taco off Riverside and McGavick Pike.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
For dessert. That's a cheat code right there. I love ice cream.
Okay.
And so any chance I get to have some ice cream or something like that, I do. Not as often as I'd like. But yeah, I think that some of the best burgers are like Jack Brown. And then there's a Memo Rose has a good burger.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But and then there's other places that have like really high end burgers, like even Restoration Hardware Cafe has great burgers.
What's that?
So
Where's that
that's
at?
in Green Hills.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and so that's a great date spot too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But yeah, I would say Jack Brown, Riverside Grill Shack, Mo Rose, Brown's Diner. But yeah, those are some good places.
What's one conversation you had as a dad that you'll never forget?
I think the conversation around money, how to manage money and time and money, and then, I think that time and money are critical, and then always being available to talk to them, even though we sort of like their mom and I already raised them, so to speak. People are always going to need life advice. Now, what I do is I don't ever tell somebody what to do, even professionally. I'll say, here's some things that I've done, or that I think could work.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they have to make the decision.
Yeah.
I don't make decisions for other people. I will give them the insight. Even with my adult kids, I'll say, here's some things I did, or maybe that I would do, or here's several options of things you could do. Ultimately, you need to make the decision. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's finances. It's just like always like a kind of like a faux pas thing to talk about too. Because it's like you're good or bad about it. There's always these different ways of thinking about it. I mean, reading this book called Psychology of Money.
Yeah,
it has a lot of really interesting information in it. Relating to why Warren Buffett was so good and so he wasn't so good.
Yeah.
Where like there are actually people that invested better than him, but he started really early. Yeah. And the majority of money he made was actually after he was 65. Yeah. I thought that was really cool, you know. And I don't know. I've also just like you ever know someone who like they work their whole life and they're gonna retire and either they die right after they retire or they die before they can retire.
Or something else happens, like they lose their job before their pension, and so they got to take an early pension. Right. Or what we're raised in this Western American culture, to work 40 hours a week and to have our pension plan and all that. When when that all went away from me, I left the corporate world in 2019 and I just didn't go back. And part of the reason I didn't go back was because it's that I didn't want to go back. It's just that I didn't always fit in there. And so I think if there's a lot of, coaching products and services and all those kind of things about what's your side hustle, find your passion and, go build your new thing. And I think that's great, but it's like, in my mind, I was always better off when I made a plan, I made a plan and I had goals and I worked towards that and I didn't get distracted.
Yeah.
And there, again, I said it earlier, it's like I built my company so that at any given time, if I had a rough month even, I could go sell other things within the music business that would generate income. I didn't have the stress of working, doing something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And so sometimes it's not about, it's like, man, if you just did this for a period of time, or it's like, man, if you just did this, it's about compounded energy and time.
Yeah.
If you compound that energy and that time into something and invest in it and start thinking like an investor with an abundance mindset and not a poverty mindset, that's how true breakthrough happens, at least in my experience and philosophy. And then in a lot of ways in my business now, I'm functioning like an investor.
Yeah.
Where I have the ability and the authority in my business to say, I know that this is going on and you've got great songs and I know you don't have a ton of cash flow, but here's some ways that we could partner together to leverage each other's relationships for a time, a short assigned period of time to help you find some sort of breakthrough. And that's why I built everything the way I did, was so that I could just come in at times as an investor.
Yeah.
Now there's a good and bad way of time to do that.
Yeah.
But it has to cost somebody something somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think the other thing is that, whether it's Nashville or wherever it is you live, you can always control your food budget.
Yeah, true.
And you can control your living expenses and you can control how much you spend on things. And we have an exorbitant amount of hobbyish, addictive type of recreation stuff in our society. Not to bag on gamers, but if you look at the gamers actually have a good idea because they bought a gaming system. They might play that game and that gaming system for a long time, and they're not leaving the house.
Right.
But then they're not getting the social. They are getting the social, but it's all introspective, or it's in the system.
Yeah.
So there's gaming, but then there's what other. It's like you don't have to have a lot of money to have a social life.
No,
you definitely need to be intentional about it.
Yes.
My thing is when I sit down every day, actually, I look at my expenses. I look at what I have incoming. Look at my my billables. I look at all of that every morning. So what I encourage people to do is look at your money every day, know what's coming and going, and then if you need to make adjustments, fix your budget first, and then as you start to add other things or dream about other things. But even the advice I gave to my kids, it's like, man, whether or not you like Dave Ramsey or not, I don't care. But I had my own financial coach for a while, and the best thing I figured out that I could do was have an emergency fund of some sort, of at least $1,000, that was just sitting there, that would help me if the car breaks down or who knows what. And then I also needed to have that same emergency fund for my business, because at times that business had something happen in it that cost me money from my savings. And I was like, I don't want that again.
No, absolutely.
But that's an example of something I did on a strategic Saturday.
Yeah.
Or asked friends about.
Yeah.
I sought help. And some people are going to always live on a fixed income.
Yeah, true.
But
nothing wrong with that.
I bet if you're listening to this podcast, you actually sat down and looked at your expenses for the past month, there's probably some things you could find, whether it's probably food and entertainment or clothing or some sort of ancillary area that's not primary in your life, like the four walls, which is your rent, your basic life and necessity type of expenses, your car payment, all the things you need to function to stay alive and keep the lights on. Outside of that thing, what did you spend? I bet you could find some areas where you're like, man, been really wanting to build a new website, but I can't afford it. I bet you it's in the food budget. And I bet you it's in the expenses of you ate out, or you did an entertainment thing, or you took a trip. Not to say you shouldn't do all those things, but if you really want to like, grow and do some things, you can find pockets.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And like that one can be hard to navigate, right? Because like I've seen both areas of my life to where like you see those examples where like, oh well, like my dad didn't save anything, and then like he also he died like 4 years ago. He very acted like in a curious, like, I don't want to say admirable way, but he kind of was like a little kid, where like he liked comic books, and like even when he died, like into his house, it's like he had like army characters like sitting out that he was like playing with, or comic books he read, and it's like, you know what, like out of respect, like he lived his whole life how he wanted to live it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like whether he had $1 million in the bank or $1 in the bank, doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that you can't take. There's a lot of things you can't take with you.
No, and
whatever that means, and so what does it look like to live your life to your fullest extent, and to be happy? But if you have goals and you want to accomplish some things, you can't keep everything. It's like the joke about the triangle. It's like you can only have two sides. Scope, schedule, budget. You can only have two sides of the triangle, because one thing's it's scalability. One thing's going to affect the other.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. And I want to mention earlier, you're talking about gaming. Do you know I'm a gamer? Actually?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now, I don't play video games very much.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple hours a week.
Yeah.
I value it so much because when I game, I play with my good friend from back home, Keith. But if he's not gaming, I don't turn it on.
Yeah.
Now, very rarely, they'll come out with a game that I like every 2 years or so, and then it's kind of like an interactive movie.
Yeah.
I'll play it till it's done and be like, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's only taken up, a couple hours a week,
Yeah.
which in that time though for me is social.
Yeah.
So we just talk. Sometimes, I'm staying at hotels, traveling. My internet is terrible in hotels, and my game won't work. But I can kind of just watch his screen and we can talk and catch it up. And that's really cool. When you're talking about numbers and focusing on your finances, I think it's really important because any number we're trying to increase, I think we should focus on. And the finance one can be tough. I've struggled with it. It's like making yourself look at your bank account, especially when it doesn't say what you want it to say.
Yeah.
It's like, same thing with like, I get on a scale every morning and this is what it is. This is what I weigh today.
Yeah.
And finding a way to adjust that. Just like if I'm trying to grow Instagram followers, I check my followers every day.
Yes.
It's what you focus on is what that number you're trying to increase.
That's right.
And just having that awareness of it. And I'm not sure what it does subconsciously. I think it probably helps us prioritize things, because if it's painful, you don't want to experience that pain.
That's right.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Finance is a tough one. I feel like that, and your health too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like trying to be like preemptive about your health. I mean, it's like I've had some friends recently who, got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And man, talk about finding out what's valuable in life real quick.
Absolutely.
There's no bigger equalizer to where it's like, it shows you how important things are in life.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about investing, or Warren Buffett, it's like he's, has so many $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
But how old is he? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure, but maybe he's in his 90s, right? I honestly don't know.
You'll have to do a fact check thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a thing too. Like, sometimes people, I'm scared of making content. I'm scared of getting on podcasts and saying something wrong. Like, we're having a conversation. I'm going to say something wrong. I'm not doing it intentionally.
Whoever the podcast police are, I hope you develop that into a business.
Yeah. Oh, he's 94 years old. It's my photography.
Wow.
Maybe we should incorporate like later on where you look stuff up. I think that would be cool and helpful. Like maybe we could do our own version of that or something. I don't know. But yeah, 94 years old. Like, if you could either, you could have his amount of money and be how old he is.
Yeah.
Would you take that, or would you wake up tomorrow and be your same age?
Man, I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I mean,
really?
my life is
Interesting.
good right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know Buffett's story well enough to know. I'd have to know more.
Yeah.
Like if I was going to inherit someone else's story or their money, I'd want to know the terms.
Yeah.
After everything I've gone through in life, I'd want to, like if somebody was like, hey, I got X amount of dollars I want to give you, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
But what's the stipulation and what is the...
Yeah.
Yeah. After dealing with a lot of different situations, it's like, well, somebody would be like, oh man, I'd take the money.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's the taxes on that look like?
Yeah. my point is, and we can wrap things up with that though, is my question is about how valuable time is.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like I'm 39, getting ready to turn 40. It's like at a certain point you'd still give whatever you have now and go back 10 years.
I wouldn't.
To have your health. You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't go back 10. The 50s are amazing. You'll
Really?
enjoy the 50s.
Okay.
In fact,
if I make it.
if you make it. We may.
I think I will. I
mean,
will.
I got to make it to the men's room first. But
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite quotes from the Bourne Identity, where he tells the senior CIA officer, he's like,
Let's end
we
on
don't
that.
make it through this. We don't make it to the men's room, right? And that's how I feel some days. It's like being present. It's like, well, all right, what do I need to do today? Well, I'm doing a podcast with Jake, right? I'm doing all these things, and it's like, what do I need to do every day to make it, and then stay in that day?
Yeah.
And but I think with time, it's like, I don't know enough about Buffett, or even from my own self 10 years ago, I wouldn't go back.
Yeah.
Like I like how things are now, and how God has kind of orchestrated that. I do think in the 50s, I have a lot of friends that are turning 40 this year. And they're like, man, what? And I'm like, listen, I'm like, the 50s are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know, because I'm a Gen X creative, born in the child of the 80s, where everything that we did was different.
Yeah.
It was like we had new music, we had like new politics, we had a new, and then in the 90s we got the internet.
Yeah.
Or whenever it was, and it's like 90s. That changed everything too.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, and we had, in the 80s we had MTV, we had all these groundbreaking things, as where my dad as a boomer, there were a lot of things they didn't have. It sounded like, well, we just went out and worked, and, grandpa, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, at least in the 80s we had good music.
Yeah, that's
true. Bands like U2 that are still around.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones or whoever it is.
I love the 80s music. Well, I'm glad God put you in my life, brother. And I'm glad you made it here today. And let's get you to the men's room. Let's do it. Awesome, dude. Appreciate you. Yep. Thank you for watching the Jake Turner podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and to follow me on all my other social media platforms. The links are in the description below.